Okay, so I'll go ahead and start, okay?
Right.
Okay, so hi Kendra, my name's Kimberly. You can call me Kim. My pronouns are she, her. Do you mind telling me your pronouns?
My pronouns are also she, her.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to be your social worker, and as your social worker, I just want you to know that you are my priority. So with that being said, my focus is you. So my focus is on working on your progress as a person, your well-being. Um, and how we as a team can make improvements to that. And I also want to make sure that you know and feel that this is a safe space. So please feel free to ask me questions, bring up any comments or concerns. Feel free to interrupt me. Again, this environment and the point of this is to help you. So the only way I could help you is you help me understand you better. So that being said, I also want to point out or mention some confidentiality. Do you know what confidentiality is?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I can explain it to you. So confidentiality um, kind of means like privacy. So what that means is that, um, like I mentioned, I want this to be a safe space, and I want you to feel comfortable telling me how you feel and what you're going through. However, and that stays between us. So that's what kind of like confidentiality is, that it's private, it's a private conversation. It's between us. However, unless you mentioned something to me that might, you know, put yourself at harm or other people, is when I do have to break that. Does that make sense? Or like, do you need an example to
No, that makes sense.
that make sense? Okay, cool. So I would like to get to know you better. And I did read that some of your hobbies include cooking, poetry, and science, which I find all really fascinating. And I wanted to know, because I love cooking too, so I wanted to know, like, how did you learn how to cook?
I learned how to cook mostly from my mom. She taught me to cook growing up. And after learning of how to cook, I really liked cooking because, I get to make my own food. And if I'm craving something, I can just make it at home.
That's really cool. And I think that's so impressive considering that you're so young. I wish I was your age and I knew how to cook. I barely started learning how to cook like recently. So that's really good. I find that really fascinating. What about poetry? Do you like to write poetry? Do you like to read poetry or
I mostly like to read poetry, but I'm currently learning how to write it, especially with like life experiences.
okay, so um when you read, like, what kind of poetry do you like to read? Like, is it poetry that you can relate to, or
Yeah, I mostly read poetry that I'm relating to and just like any poetry I see, but mostly the ones that I relate to. So anything that's interesting to me.
okay, that's cool. Maybe in the future when you develop more poetry that you write, maybe you could share one with me. That'd be really cool. I love to listen to that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to ask you, what's your understanding of why you're in foster care?
Hmm. Let's see. Hmm. That one is kind of hard to explain. All I know is that being in foster care is a lot because I do miss my family.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Okay. So is being away from your family hard on you, or how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel sad because, I miss them um a lot and I do talk to my mom every day during the supervised visits. Although my foster parents are also pretty nice
Okay, that's
and yeah, and I get along very well with my foster sibling Tanya. So um yeah, sure, like they're nice, but it doesn't replace my real family.
I understand. Yeah, sometimes that could be hard, and it is really difficult the situation you're in being in foster care. And I'm really glad that your foster parents are nice to you. I think that's a really big factor in what contributes to your experience in foster care. But like you said, no one's gonna replace your mom. Um, so what are your goals for therapy?
I guess like because my father died recently, I just learned that and I'm going through a lot. I guess like I can't even explain it. And the fact that that happened and I miss my family, I want to kind of like know how to get through it, talk to someone about it.
Yeah. Yeah, going through grief especially is really difficult. So, I want to I want to recognize that and get that you're a really strong person for going through that. Because I believe you were 8 years old, right, when your father passed?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And it seems like so far family is very important to you. So I want to recognize that. And I'm really sorry that you're going through this, but I want you to know as your social worker, you're not alone. And although I know it might be hard for you to speak on it and to express your grief, that I'm all ears whenever you're ready, though, of course, okay?
Yeah, of course.
Um, so I remember reading um on your file that sometimes it's really hard for you to get out of bed. Do you, if you remember, like, do you go to sleep with like something heavy on your mind? Like, do you think about your mom, your siblings, is it your dad, or do you know what it stems from by any chance?
It's like a mixture of my family and my dad especially. I feel like that's a little too much on my mind, so I kind of find sleeping as a way to, kind of distract myself from feeling that pain.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that with me, okay?
Yeah.
Um, how do you, does it affect like the way you interact with other people, or like does it affect the way you act at school, or how does that affect you like in your daily life when you're awake?
Well, when I'm awake, I notice that my grades have started to go down ever since like my dad died, and I've
Mm,
been getting like teachers feeling sorry for me, and it kind of feels weird, I guess.
mm. That makes sense. Like maybe like you feel like their pity sometimes makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's the word for it.
Okay. Um, noticed you also mentioned that you identify as Latinx. What does that mean for you? Like, what are some of like your family values, and how does that like align to your culture?
So, it aligns with my family values because, in my culture, we always like look out for family. And I like love to look after my family and be there for them. But because I'm in foster care, it's kind of hard to, be there for them. So when I get older, I want to make sure I can take care of them.
Okay. Um, that sounds really meaningful. And it seems like family is really important too. I've noticed so far that you've highlighted that a lot throughout this session. So, I want to recognize that. Um, is there anything that you do with your foster family that connects you to your culture? Like, do
Um,
you cook with your foster family? I know you mentioned your mom showed you how to cook. Do you do that with your foster mom?
yeah, a little bit. And I also like walking our family dog. That's like a activity that kind of I feel like brings us close together. And it's cool having a pet too. So that's
Yeah,
nice.
that's nice. I know you mentioned also in your file, at least that I read, that you sometimes talk to your dad and you feel like he's there with you. Is that, if you feel comfortable, like, is that something that you still strongly believe in?
Yeah, I believe in like God and heaven and hell. So I like to believe that my dad is looking down on me and that he can hear me, especially like when I need him most.
Yeah.
So when I talk to my dad in my room, I feel like, he's there and, it makes me a little bit better that knowing that he's looking after me.
Okay. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. It seems like that brings you comfort, and you having that connection with your dad, is irreplaceable. No one knows the relationship that you had with someone and the love you had for them. So I'm glad that you are able to still connect with him even after that, and that you find strength in that. So far you mentioned a lot about your family. So would you say or consider that your family is your motivation in life?
Yes, just knowing like I want to take care of them and know that they're okay. That's like my biggest motivator to just like, move through like whatever challenges I experience.
Okay, that makes sense. You have really strong family values, at least in your core. That makes a lot of sense. I find it inspiring that you carry that values with you, and that's what keeps you going. Um, Okay, Kendra, so that does seem like it concludes our session for today. I want to thank you for being really open to me and for sharing important information about yourself. I know talking about your dad and your current situation with your family is very difficult. So I want to recognize your strength and resilience in this process.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for talking with me about this. I feel like it might help definitely with what I'm going through.
Did you feel comfortable sharing information with me or?
At first, I was nervous, but I feel like the more we talk, I feel a little more comfortable.
Okay. I'm glad you feel that way, Kendra. Thank you so much. Okay. I'll see you next time.
All right, see you next time.